You're on in 3, 2, 1.
This is Packard Folkset, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Folkset. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining us tonight from over on the far east coast is Eric, or is not Eric, is Joe Unseen.
They mostly come at night.
Yes.
Mostly.
And joining us also from the East Coast tonight is Wayne, Random XS.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Yes. And our special guest host, and I kind of gave it away, is Eric. I have no thought making a return visit to the Packard Folkset set.
Way to screw up an intro, Packard.
I know.
Plus,
I am a total screw up sometimes.
I want to say, you don't realize how hard it was for me not to say anything while y'all are talking about a shirtless Packard, because only one of us in this room has actually experienced that, and it's not been pleasurable.
I know that those four nipples just kind of throw a person.
Well, he has sleeves this week, so somebody must have made a donation.
Yeah. Yeah, it was called my work. They donate to me every 2 weeks. Hello, everybody in the chat room. Thank you again for coming. We got a lot of good stories tonight, and so let's get into our first topic. If you have been following the news, and if you're watching the show, you obviously like to follow the news. We actually put a gigantic car. Well, an SUV-sized car on Mars. Now, the cool thing about this is the robot is mostly autonomous, so it can basically think on its own, because there is such a time delay between here and Mars. I mean, obviously, that if you're going to move it forward a little bit, you have to know exactly where you're going, otherwise you go crashing over a ravine and mission's over. And this unit is nuclear powered. Nuclear. That's right. That's if there's Martians up there, they'd definitely be going clean now. What's most important and most interesting about this is that the brain power on this NASA-powered rover is essentially the same brain as a Bondi Blue iMac G3. I actually had one of these things. It's for its time, it was a good, fairly speedy computer. That one came out back in '97, just before the or late '90s. I can't remember this for sure, but I have to look. But it's an IBM powered PC 750 CPU, which is kind of cool. Simply the fact that that this robot on Mars is running basically on the same chip processor as an old Macintosh. Joe, your thoughts?
Hi, I'm the Curiosity rover sent to Mars by NASA, and I'm a PC.
No, you mean you're a Mac.
Well, the rover has a Mac in it.
Yes.
But yeah, like when I read this, I was like, wow, that's really cool. They put an old Mac motherboard and processor in the Mars rover. I guess since it's so far away and they can't go fix it, they needed something that was reliable and would just work.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And it says it runs on a RAD 750 radiation hardened. So I don't know. I guess
I saw that. That was really cool. It was like radiation hardened single board computer. I was like, wow, that sounds pretty hardcore.
I didn't know what kind of technology goes into making these hardened, but I didn't know they used kind of I didn't know what kind of radiation they're using. It's kind of weird. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was I guess it's pretty standard for these projects because they're so long term in the planning, from original conception to you can actually touch down on Mars. That by the time you try to use one, it has to be stable platform that you have to know about. So it's already going to be a couple of years old, many years old. and then by the time you actually get it there, it's 15 years old. It's pretty, yeah. It's the space shuttles were flying with 70s technology in the computers.
Oh, really?
So
that's kind of cool. I didn't realize they were flying around up there with such old technology. I mean, I would have.
By the time they retired, they might have updated it. But I know when they were in the 90s, it was 70s technology.
Ah. Oh, well, if I had known that, I would have donated one of my computers.
They don't have to run a lot of graffics.
No,
the Mars rover, there's not a lot of graphics running.
Yeah.
When the astronauts are in space, they're playing Pong. They're like, damn stuff.
Is that an asteroid or is that a Pong? I don't know.
It's either coming right for us or I'm about to get a point.
Score! Both! Eric, your thoughts?
So if we go by current standards, that means that the processors in our current computers will be enough to power our flying cars whenever they finally come out.
Yeah,
correct?
Maybe. Either that, or we'll have a space that travels through time.
They should put this in their advertisements. Our old Macs are powerful enough to.
That would be such a cool an ad coup. It's like you like the old Mac then. Mars rover runs it now.
That's how awesome we are.
Oh, that is a great story, and I just can't believe that that they're running this technology.
How funny would it have been if they got a Windows unit on there, and right whenever it landed, and they pushed the button for it to move forward, that all of a sudden it got a blue screen?
Oh, blue screen death.
That would be the funniest thing ever.
We're sorry. We have allocation 00XX. Blah, blah, blah. What? No. Oh, speaking of those things and weird things going on with the computer, there's a guy on Twitter. I forget his name. Let's see here. Matt Honan. But he had on Twitter. He had Matt, M-A-T, and his account was hacked, so it was pushing out, hateful, racy stuff, and it wasn't just that. I mean, Twitter accounts get hacked all the time. What's so interesting about it is the way it was gone about. They didn't brute force his account to try to get his password. What they did was they used social engineering. They called up Apple and they said, "Hey, I've lost my password. I forgot what my questions were." And in the process, they not only got his Twitter account, they got his Gmail account. They got access to his iPhone, his iPad, and his Macintosh computer. And he's sitting there playing with his kid, and all of a sudden his iPad suddenly restarts. Thought, well, it must be some kind of weird glitch. And then it gave the iTunes logo, which if you ever had an iPhone, you know that means plug into iTunes and restore. They did the same thing to his phone and to his. But he didn't worry about it until he got to his computer and everything was locked out. He couldn't get into it. It was quite an incredible story. Just goes to show you that you need to, when you put in your passwords and your questions, you've got to be very careful about that. Don't put out information into your questions so that anybody can find out. For example, instead of saying what's your mother's maiden name, instead of saying it's Gladys or whatever it is, say it's truck or Toyota or something you can remember and write it down somewhere, of course. This way, even if they get the question, get to that question, they're not going to know. There's no way they know. But and Apple is not admitting this, but they decided to lock out all reset passwords temporarily for now until they get this all sorted out. Joe, your thoughts?
My mother's maiden name was Packard.
What a coincidence!
Yeah, it's so weird. Like when I saw you on Twitter for the first time, I was like, "Mom."
Yes, I have been accused of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it completely sucks to be this guy. They managed to get their way into his iCloud, and from there they were able to get into his email accounts and his Twitter accounts and Gizmodo's account. And that because he was using the Find My iPhone service, they were able to remote wipe his iMac, his iPod, or his iPad and his iPhone. Just wiped them.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
Apple's trying to help him recover his iMac, but you know.
Yeah, he
wow,
got
sucks.
Yeah, he got hooked. Leo Laporte got him hooked up with drive savers, and try to save the information. He's going to try to get the information back so he can get his photos back. I mean, you know, a lot of people just keep photos and stuff on their computers, and they, you know,
right.
So I mean, those you're not going to get. There's no way you're going to be able. You can recreate data. Those photos, no. Especially if it's like if your kid just being born or whatever, you know, you don't want to put someone through that again.
And the iCloud was supposed to be this safe thing where all your data was saved remotely, but they were able to get into that.
Yeah, it wasn't because they brute forced it though. They just little social engineering. And the guy said Leo Laporte said he talked to these people. He said, "Oh, that's all right. Doesn't matter. We've got other hacks we can use too." So I was like, makes you wonder what more they're going to do. And so if you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook or anywhere else, don't use the same password everywhere. That's that'll kill you. Use a password storage program and then make one hashtag, make one password for that, and let the program make up other passwords for all these other sites. This way you're going to be protected. Something you may not be able to remember it unless you're at that computer, but it's better than the alternative. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was really good. How they got in, and it was he made a couple of small mistakes. One, he didn't back up his own personal information very well.
Yeah.
Especially if you're really into backing up, like they tell you, if you back up your information once, you don't have 2 copies. You still only have 1 copy.
That's right.
You can back it up twice if you want 2 backups. If you want 2 copies, but Google has a 2-step verification, and he didn't have the 2-step verification, and that probably would have stopped everything if he had Google. So that advice to you, if you can use Google 2-step verification, use Google 2-step verification. The other way that they were able to get into all of his accounts is he basically had the same name. Not password. He daisy changed his passwords together. I'm not really sure exactly what that meant exactly and specific for him, but his accounts were all the same name with just like it was Matt Honan or whatever, mhonan.gmail, mhonan.me. He had the same username, and what that allowed them to do is one of the steps they were able to get his ME account. Because it was all the middle letters were starred out, but the first and last letter were there, and it was the same as the first and last letter on his Gmail account.
Yep.
They just were able to fill that in.
Yep. And it doesn't take much. It does not take much, especially. I know there's a lot of people out there. You know, say I put passwords on a piece of paper, then I'd lose the paper. I can understand that. I've done that myself. Have you ever seen my desk?
The one really easy, the one of the important steps they were able to do here that you can't do anymore was they went through Amazon. They were able to through Amazon. They called up Amazon. They called up Amazon, and they added a fake credit card to his Amazon account. And then they went to the Amazon page and were able to, from that, see his other Amazon information, including the last 4 digits of his card number. And then that's how they got the last 4 digits of his credit card number. And then they got some other information there. And then, then they were able to go over to Apple and then do some social engineering at Apple. And it never even got to the point where they actually asked him the security question. They never asked the hacker security questions because they had the last 4 digits of social security number. They had they knew the ME account, which was the backup account for the Gmail. That was the other thing they guessed. They found out his ME account was that. So they called up. They said, "Hey, I can't get my email accounts, my Gmail or my ME, which is my backup for my Gmail. I can't get any of my accounts. Can you reset them?" So that's when they gave him the hackers the reset codes, so that they were able to get into all his accounts and then start then daisy chaining through all these things,
Right.
moving through all his accounts, and then wiping their track as they went on. And the whole thing was to get to his Twitter account. He's a Wired journalist. He wrote for Wired. He writes for Wired. But they didn't know that. He's well known in the industry. They went after his Twitter account because they liked his Twitter name, Matt.
Yep, that's it, at Matt. That's a
3-letter Matt name.
Yep.
They saw that and they said, "Oh, that's a cool Twitter name. I wonder if we can get in that Twitter account."
And the thing was, and they said it wasn't anything personal, right?
Oh no.
But they said that it was just that everything else was just a bonus for them. So it's it's kind of hard to say if it was personal or not, but that would be it just makes you.
It didn't sound like because he told them in the conversation with them, he goes, "Look, I don't want to press any charges against any of you guys or against you, the guy who's talking to. Just tell me everything that you did and how you did it."
Right.
And the guy even admitted in the conversation, he goes, "Well, I like to do this kind of stuff and then publicize how I do it." So
he said when he was talking to they were talking to Leo Laporte, said, "Yeah, we're not going to stop hacking anymore. We're just going to do exploits." What? That's the same thing.
Right.
For someone these people are so smart that they're kind of in that respect. They're kind of like.
But Amazon has changed their policy for adding credit cards, and Apple, we're not real sure what they're doing. They're saying that they've suspended temporarily giving the password resets, but they can't do that forever. I mean, they have to have some sort of program that lets you do that. So
yeah, it's a sad situation when you got all this stuff going on, because our digital lives, a lot of us just make up who we are nowadays. I mean, we got our lives, then we got our digital lives, and most people are just moving so far to digital that anything outside that is just it doesn't even seem real anymore. Eric, your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel really bad for this guy, and it just goes to show we all need to be very, very careful. And this is one of the things that I fear about whenever we go towards this cloud utopia that everybody's pushing. Yeah, your information is everywhere, but at the same time, your information is everywhere, and we're giving it a lot of power. And it's going to be very easy. At some point, it's going to be very easy for people to crack the passwords, even the strong passwords, because remember this, as computers get stronger and stronger and stronger, it'll be easier and easier for them to brute force it. They'll be able to run the algorithms quicker.
Oh yeah, that's the best passwords are ones that are completely random,
right?
Or this is a tip for everybody. Take a song lyric, my dog has fleas.
Ooh, I know Packer's password now. Hold on. I gotta hack into his account. I'm gonna start posting things like Romney is best.
There you go. Take the
that
first.
Is totally him, by the way.
Then take the first letter of that lyric, and then it'd be M, dog, MD, H, F, and then you add a series of numbers that are like I don't know, a year that's important to you, not nothing that's you posted all over the place, but then you add a few characters like exclamation point, pound sign, things like that. If you can. There are some sites, however, that reject those passwords and they just want alphanumeric. In some cases, they only want alpha. Those sites I kind of try to avoid. So, but that's one way. Another way is like take a series of words that don't have anything to do with each other, and then put a period in between, like say keyboard, bottle, and road, and then put a number behind that. Those two, because if they get keyboard, they're not going to get the others because bottle and road have nothing to do with each other. So, but you definitely keep an eye on your passwords. And if you got the two authentication on your Google account, set up your Google account to call you and send you a password. So if you get hacked, you can always get it back. All right, well, let's get into our next story here, our next topic.
Politics.
Romney's back in the news again. What was this guy, Romney? He keeps running for, I guess he's running for president or something.
I know, you're like, he's back in the news again. He's in the news every day.
Yeah, he's in the news every day. He's definitely always in the news every day. apparently, there's a Romney spokesperson lobbied to undermine climate science for Exxon. Basically, they basically told these people, said, "Hey, you know, we don't want people to believe in climate change because, well, we know it's happening, but we don't want everybody else to know that, you know, because you could interfere with our business and robbing the American. I mean, it's bilking. I mean, taking money from the American people, you know, for our very expensive product, which we probably don't charge. Doesn't take a whole lot to make anyway. With our huge vast profits, we just can't avoid not having a gold toilet in our bathroom, in 3 of our bedrooms and bathrooms and whatever. So, but I'm going off on a tear. The DCI's efforts here included campaigns to undermine climate legislation, to push and counter messages and spokesmen to the media on conservation and connection between the extreme weather and global warming. This person named Saul's extensive role in this DCI group climate campaigns can be traced through and archived through documents and press releases. One of the interesting things on here I saw, they say, oh, Romney, he believes in climate change, but he won't come out and say it. You know, and they say he's been flip-flopping on it. But Mitt Romney's always been a flip-flopper. It doesn't matter what it is. You ask him an opinion on one thing, and then you go back and you say, oh, no, it's different now. And it's like, but you said you'd believe this. So, you trusted the science in this. So, I don't know. Joe, your thoughts?
If climate change wasn't happening, then why would big oil companies need to pay people to spread disinformation and undermine climate science?
That's a good question.
It's like saying, pay no attention to the climate change behind the curtain.
That is a good question and a valid point.
This Romney aide has been quoted as saying CO2 is a natural gas. Humans emit it every time they exhale. Yeah, it's a natural gas.
Really?
And most of the natural CO2 that has been emitted was at one time trapped in oil and coal deposits that we then dug and drilled up and burned and released into the air.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, human breathing had nothing to do with it. It was what we did.
Yeah, and then there's always, and then I'm going off a little bit of a tangent here, but then there's people who, the extreme vegetarians, they say, don't eat cows because they're making methane and methane's bad. And I say to them, I'm eating them as fast as I can. Please give me some time. I said that on my Facebook page one time, and some woman just tore off on me. I was like, whoa, chill. It was a joke.
Well, the amount of methane that cows give off is insignificant compared to what swamps give off, what the ocean naturally gives off, what humans also burn on their own, you know?
Tell that to the cow lovers. And in that case, you know, a lot of the people on the right do sit there and say that, you know, what we give off as far as CO2 is infinitesimal compared to what volcanoes give off. And
oh yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
So, I mean, you know, just saying.
Oh yeah, volcanoes are. Why don't these people that are trying to fight that they're dead set against? Why do they try to fight volcanoes? You damn volcano!
Well, you can't do anything about volcanoes. They're
Oh
natural.
well.
However, I do support putting filters on them.
Put a filter on that thing.
Maybe we could get like different flavors, like Mentos or Fresh Breath or something like that.
The fresh making volcano. I can just see the commercials on that now. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is Andrea Saul. She's the press secretary for Mitt Romney. And she's the same person who made the Romney Care comment just recently that, you know, they got cancer, and she's made some comment. Well, if he'd gone to Michigan or gone to Massachusetts, she could have gotten health care under Romney Care. And then everybody kind of blew up at why is Romney spokesman? She's the same person who did that. But yeah, these climate deniers, you just want to throttle them all because they've never looked at the science. I mean, there are like, I mean, it's like 5% of scientists who look at the data who agree with them. 95% disagree with them. much every scientist who's ever looked at the data knows that global warming is happening, and they know that its man-made contributions are a significant contributor. And a big case that just was recently was the Berkeley study that just came out last year, within the last year, with Richard Muller, famous physicist, who was he was a popular climate denier too, but he was a scientist. They would tout him, like, "Oh, scientist Richard Muller. He's a bit of a denier," but he wasn't a climatologist.
Right.
But when he actually went in and headed up a team, and they did a year-long study, a meta study of studies, and looked at the data, he came out and he's like, "Well, I'm a believer now."
Yeah.
I didn't believe it before because it didn't make sense to him that we could be changing the environment.
Right.
Which was, as a scientist, it was a bit odd that he would have that opinion, because every scientist who was an expert in the field was agreeing that it was a problem and that the humans were doing it. So even though he's a skeptical scientist and whatever, he should have recognized that, hey, all the experts who do that, he should have kind of put a little confidence, like, maybe they are right. Maybe I'll look into it myself.
Yeah. I think a lot of,
but for him to try and form an opinion was a bit odd. But he's come out, he's strong favor, and that's why I don't like these people on the right who say that that it's not a problem, because they've never looked at the data. They're not experts in the field. They should just be quiet and listen to the experts. I don't know what happened in America that we've stopped listening to our experts. We have the best trained experts in the world. We should listen to them.
Yes, absolutely. I really think we should too. I mean, it's just the fact is that these people, with this guy that you're speaking about, I've been hearing about him. He did deny. He put it off. He's like, okay, I'm not. He won some prizes and whatnot, like the Nobel Prize or something like that. I forget what it was, but he won something for science for what he was doing. And then he's like, I saw that he didn't see the data. And he's like, this didn't look right to him for some reason. The Koch brothers, because he was very outspoken on this, said, hey, we were going to hire you to dig into this for us, and because you don't believe it and we don't believe it, and so we want you to give us the results we want. Well, he did the research, and guess what? Oh, it's real, folks. It's real. We is be getting a bit hot here. So I'm usually melting on the show, so I should know. Eric, your thoughts?
I already gave my thoughts, but see, and y'all went totally different than I thought y'all were. I thought y'all were going to be all angry that a lobbyist was there more so than the environmental angle. I mean, the right wing have been saying this for years, so it's nothing new, and I'm not surprised by it. So I mean, it is what it is. Not much else I could say.
Yeah, it's. I know you and I had this discussion over Twitter a few weeks ago, and it's like it got almost a little heated. See,
what did I say over Twitter? I forget this stuff.
I don't remember, but it's like here's more proof. Here's more proof. No, I don't know. I don't buy the proof.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where. Oh, that's what it was. We were talking about sunspots.
Yes, we were talking about sunspots.
And I had made a comment that, yeah, we were talking about sunspots, and you said something about sunspots, and I was like, oh yeah, we could blame the drought on sunspots because the more.
I was just throwing that out as a joke. I
meant mine as a joke and stuff like that. We got into debate, and funny thing, and as we talked about it, the more sunspots, the more activity, and usually the hotter it is.
Yeah. Which was surprising. I looked that up, and I was like, that was really surprising to me, because I forgot that when we have sunspot cycles, then the sun is more active, then it does get hotter. Even though sunspots themselves are actually cooler, which kind of weird.
And I think that's where the miscommunication was because you said that sunspots are cooler, which is true, and I was thinking of sunspot activity, which means you have a lot of warming, and the sun has been active.
Yeah.
And also a little tidbit. Did you know that the polar caps? I read a story recently that the polar caps on Mars are actually melting too.
Are they? So well, I guess we're.
Not only is our greenhouse gas affecting Earth, it's also affecting Mars.
See, we are so bad. It's now it's affecting Mars. We are just cosmic trashed now. We're just trashing 2 planets at the same time. Not even trying, but we're trashing 2 planets.
I really think that it's all about how you present the information.
Yes.
Doom and gloom is never going to win. And you tend to turn people off because it's so intense on one side. It's like, oh my god, I'm not even going to listen. Yeah. I think for me, and I'm speaking, I tend to be a little more on the right side than on the left. But
no, really.
What was the thing that really solidified? I'm not gonna say I'm in any way, shape, or form environmental, but I do have appreciation, and I do believe in conservatism of it and stuff like that. We recently went to Yosemite National Park, which is beautiful. If you have the opportunity, go and see it, and just how pristine and clean that environment is. How they have the buses, they have hybrid buses and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And I really think that would, if people would see how this stuff actually operates and how it's not as obtrusive as...
you mean global warming?
Well, no, not global warming. I'm talking about conservationism and doing things to help the environment to prevent the CO2 and stuff like that. Like, I really, right now everybody's talking about going water powered and stuff like that. And I'm a little iffy on the water power because I think at some point we may run into the same issue we have now, where we have too much.
Plus, I really don't want a river coming through my bedroom. It just, it puts a whole damper on the.
But what is going to be the harmful effects if we have too much water? I tend to like solar a little bit better. Because with solar, you don't have as much, in my opinion, as much of a excess gas or something like that. It's just.
Yeah, I hate it. We always get excess gas when I have beans.
So anyhow, but I really think if people would see that and see, because in my state, I've been around, and it may just be because I'm in my state, I see where we have trash on the side of roads and stuff like that, and it really makes me kind of disappointed because we have beautiful things here in my state, and it bothers me that people don't respect it. And going there makes me appreciate the environment even more, and I really think that that's how it should be sold. Do things to conserve, do things to help protect what we have. Don't sit there and go, we got 10 years and we're all gonna die. That's not, because here's the thing, they've been saying this for 10 years. 10 years have passed. Have we all died? No. Are we swimming everywhere we go? No. So people.
Well, I mean, it's I think they're trying to. They may be overemphasizing the problem completely. I mean, there is a problem. I'm not going to deny there is a problem, but if we ignore it, it's definitely going to get worse. But we should get going here because this is a good it's a good topic, but it's just getting too deep now. We only have
on. This always happens.
I know when you're on, you just talk and talk and talk. Some days we like that, but our next story here: GOP representative Steve King. This nut job. He wants to repeal literally everything that Obama has ever signed. The GOP is just nut jobs lately. I mean, Eric's going to disagree with me, but I say it's about race. He says it's not about race, but I think it's about race. I think that's the biggest portion of it. I'm not saying it's completely a part of it. Just him being a Democrat is bad enough. Being a Democrat with a weird,
more because he's a Democrat.
Yeah, he's a Democrat with a weird name. That's double thing. Democrat, black, Democrat, weird name, and black. Their heads just go explode. But this particular Democrat or this particular Republican, Steve King, like I said, he wants to repeal literally everything that Obama signed. The guy is named is I just said his name. He in a campaign at Humboldt, Iowa, and he represents Iowa, which is a clue right there. I've been through Iowa. It's not the nicest state I've ever been through, in many ways than one.
People have been through Washington and they said the same thing. Now what?
Well, I don't live in Washington. I don't know.
Gosh darn it! Where do you live, Packard? Wisconsin. People have been through Wisconsin. They say the same thing. Now what?
I have people from coming through Wisconsin. It's very lovely here. So
Don't worry, Iowans.
we are the prettiest state in the nation. I'm totally kidding. I have no idea. All states are pretty to their own extent, with the exception of Iowa. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Iowa. Just kidding. No haters. Anyway, the things that he would cut out if he would do this, the guy doesn't understand the ramifications. If he wants to put this bill forward, it's going to cut out everything he's done. It's going to eliminate even the Bush tax cuts, which the Republicans love, and it'll make everybody's going to get higher tax rates. Okay? Idiot point number one. Idiot point number two, it'll defund the military completely. It would eliminate more than $1 trillion spending on national defense and our interests abroad. Number three, relaxing the security along our southern border. You know, the GOP has been and the Tea Party have been like, gotta lock down our borders, Hey, that'll be gone. Thank you, GOP. Now, another one would be stripping the medal honors from the 9/11 responders, the first responders. They would, hey, your medal, you gotta give that back. Yeah, Obama gave it to you too nicely. He was too good to you. We want to take that back. Give it back. Because Republicans don't like Obama. Yeah. And the final, not the final one of the other one, it cancels the plans to honor Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan's the golden boy of the GOP right now. So, any plans there, that's gone too. And of course, repealing Obamacare, which is actually Romneycare with a slight modification. So this guy does not understand the ramifications for what this bill actually entails. I really don't think he actually understands. Like I think a lot of the GOP don't. So, but that's, of course, that's my opinion. Joe, your thoughts?
Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. Yeah, this guy has no power or authority to repeal anything. He's suggesting to a room full of supporters that he propose a bill. The bill will never go anywhere. There's no way that it'll get enough votes to pass or pass the other House of Congress or go all the way down and Obama's going to sign it into law. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And like you said, all those things that would be repealed if he were to undo everything Obama ever did, a lot of those things are things that Republicans are in support of, and would defend to repeal. You know, so this guy's just flapping his lips to a bunch of supporters.
Yeah, and the thing is, one of the things is that I've noticed, like even if the Republicans wanted it, they say, "Oh, we want this, we want this, we want this." Obama says, "Oh, we want that too." Oh no, we don't want that anymore. Get it away from us. It's toxic. It's bad. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. It's bad for the country because Obama likes it. Must be bad. Must be bad. Sure.
If he really wants something to go through, he should say he's against it, so they'll vote it in.
I've been trying to tell him that, but he won't listen to me. I'm just a host on a show here. Tell him you don't want this. And we want this. We want health care. We want health care. So yeah. That's the only way. I think that's the only way we're going to get the Republicans to play ball. It's like, tell them we don't want this. We really want it, but don't tell them we want it. Maybe if Obama gets in a second term, he'll try that. Maybe we'll actually get something accomplished. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the same nut. Steve King just this week was making comments about dogfighting. That he didn't I don't know what his point was, although he's tried to clarify it, but I haven't seen what he's saying. But he was making comments that, I don't understand why dog fighting should be illegal, but yet we are able to put men into rings and let them fight. Why are we putting animals above humans? We should never put animals above humans.
Wow.
Never.
He said that?
He actually said that. Unbelievable.
Oh my god.
The guy's nuts.
The guy is a total cornball. Why did they even vote this douchebag into office? That's what I like to know.
You said it before, because Obama is black.
Oh yeah, that's probably
what happens is these people, it's not racism to the point where they're saying like Obama, like consciously saying to themselves, oh, Obama's black, so I'm gonna go after him because I don't like black people. But they are doing things they had never ever done before, and they feel comfortable doing it because it doesn't occur to them that doing this is the wrong thing. And the reason it doesn't occur to them is because Obama is black. He's in their minds, he's been dismissed. I mean, things they say about him are everything he's ever done in his life, they've been against.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's not even like gentle poking of fun, or these people are vicious, and it's just it's unreasonable. Obama came from basically a single family. He does not come from a wealthy family. Now people, his parents had money somewhere, and blah. It wasn't that bad. He rose all the way up, went to Harvard. Was on a Harvard review, got very good grades. As far as
now the Republicans are saying, we want to see his Harvard transcripts. We want to see his grades. He had bad grades. What the hell difference would that matter? He's in president now.
We want to see you don't get to where he is without either coming from privilege, like a George Bush, who was able to skate through life because of where he came from. Or you get there through hard work, which is what Obama did. Obama did not skate through anything. Did he ever get any breaks because of affirmative action? Maybe, probably, but there's not enough opportunities anywhere in there to get all the way to the White House from a single mother in Hawaii because you're an African American without doing a hell of a lot of hard work on your own. Yeah,
that's exactly it. I think the Republicans really don't like
that's hard to do, but you just have to be an average person, which he definitely is. Yeah. There is nobody's ever come out and said that anything about George Bush being above average. He's never been called anything above average by anybody. Even the people who like him and know him and love him don't say he's a great student or a great thinker or anything.
You've heard Bush talk. I wouldn't even put him at average.
Privilege.
Yeah, he just came from, He came from privilege.
Well, if you can't be an average person coming from zero privilege and get to the White House, no matter who you are, that is impossible.
Yeah,
and for them to try and rationalize it any other way is really disturbing. It's like no,
that's basically Romney too. He came from a house of privilege, and he is
Romney at least is different. He's actually a smart person. He's also
and is a big liar.
Any moral character. I mean, that just would just come out and say that. Yeah, he loves his family, yes, and he's devoted to his family.
Yeah.
That's not a person of
and his 3 wives.
I mean, that's what everybody is. Everybody's devoted to their family. I mean, it's biological. You have no control over that. We innately are devoted to our families. That's genetics. That's evolution. That's not a gift from God. That's a gift from the universe to us. To be devoted to our family. So I don't really give him a lot of credit for being devoted to his family.
No.
Everybody's devoted to their family. He's completely lacking any moral character at all. I mean, there is nothing. There is nobody. Even Romney's friends, who comes out and says that Romney's a really nice person. They don't. They always say he's good to his family, and it's always to his family, to his family, to his family, and they never talk about what a genuinely good person he is to other people.
Yeah.
That none of his friends say that. People who know him, nobody's ever. In fact, it's completely the opposite. He's got a history of being a bully and a thug from when he was in grade school, high school, college. When he was in college, he used to dress as impersonate a police officer and pull people over. Well, what is that?
He did that? I did not know about that.
Oh, the guy's a nut.
Yeah, and plus
and he gets away with it because again he comes from all that privilege. He can get away with this stuff, and it's just like, oh, you look the other way. But again, he's smart, so he's not a George Bush at all. He's definitely on the Obama side of smarts.
Yeah,
he's a smart person, so he's a very smart person and comes from a lot of privilege, and he's going to go far. That's
right.
No doubt. Yeah. He completely lacks any moral character at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow, I didn't know about the police officer. I knew he had bullied a gay guy and cut off his hair with his buddies, but we talked about that on the show several months ago. But let's hear it from the right side. Eric, your thoughts?
You know what I'm gonna say about the whole entire racist thing. I mean, I think
I
that's
know what you're gonna say.
that's a small minority. I don't think it's as widespread as you would like to believe. Like example, I don't like Obama, but I don't like Romney either. But I don't like Obama. It's not because he's black. It's just because I don't like what he stands for.
Yeah. Well, there are those people, yourself included in that, that judge him by his policy, not.
It doesn't even have to be a lot. I mean, I'll interrupt just real quick and then I'll be quiet. But
Okay.
The country is pretty evenly split normally. 40% Democrat, 40% Republican, and 20% sort of sit in the middle. So it doesn't take but just a few percent to be racist to have the impact of that racism completely changing, completely, affecting how the parties act. I mean, the Republican Party is being spun by a very, very small, vocal, and I would say racist element in the Republican Party. Is the entire Republican Party racist? No, of course not. But it doesn't have to be. It just needs a little bit to spin it and push it over the edge, and everybody else just goes along with it and is quiet. People like Eric who don't see it and choose not to see it, and like, oh well, I can rationalize it that maybe it's that they just don't like the Democrats. Well, nobody's ever been like that ever in the history of this country, not liking the other party so much that they do absolutely nothing to help this country. And everything you have to admit, Eric, everything the Republicans have done since Obama's been in office has been specifically designed to stop Obama from doing anything. Yeah. Whether they like it or not, whether they agree with it or not, whether it would help the country or not, their only goal has been to stop him from doing it, whatever it is.
Right. Well, they have to get reelected, and I think that's the bigger issue, is that we have politicians on both sides of the aisle. It doesn't matter which one. We have politicians on both sides of the aisles who are more interested in themselves.
Again, you're being unfair, because yes, that always happens. All people always, but it's never, ever been like this. Never. After 9/11, did you see all the Democrats all of a sudden line up against George Bush and stop him from doing whatever he wanted to do to retaliate from 9/11? No, he had 95% approval rating after 9/11 from the country. He had 100% approval from the Democrats in everything he did to deal with the country's problems. Whether they agree with him or not, they sided with him because they were doing what they thought was right to do for the country, and the Republicans are definitely not doing that. They have never done that, not even from day one since they've been in office have they done that. So do not be saying that people on both sides, of course people on both sides of the aisle do. People on both sides of the aisle do everything. That's always true, but it's never been like this. This is different. You can't be turning your back and pretending that it's not different. I mean, it's ridiculous now. It's getting sick. I mean, these voter ID laws, again, it's the same thing. It's let's suppress 5 million votes just so we can get reelected. People want to get reelected. The Democrats have never tried to suppress 5 million votes to get reelected. That's never happened before.
Yeah, that's very true. But we'll let Eric finish here.
I'll be quiet.
All right.
Well,
Wayne just fired up. Wayne!
The thing about the World Trade Center and all that, it was an attack that everyone got around. We got to see the devastation. The
economy is crumbling. The economy is crumbling.
The thing is everybody has a different view as to how to handle it. That's the issue.
Right now. So stop this. That was different. That was different. That was different. It's always different. There's always an excuse.
That's right. There is always an excuse, and they will always come up with something. And the thing is that whenever Barack Obama in the first 2 years that he was there. In the first 2 years, he had the House and he had the Senate. And
Another big lie. Another big lie. Big deal. What is he supposed to do with those two things? In the Senate, he couldn't do anything.
Why not?
He was paralyzed the entire time because the Republicans have done everything. And you say, oh, he had the Senate. We had 60 senators for a little while, but 60 Democratic senators is not like having 60 Republican senators. 60 Republican senators is 60 mindless people who will do exactly the same thing every single time in lockstep and not one independent thought in there. 60 Democrats, you don't get 60 Democrats walking in lockstep ever. It's never happened. It will never happen because it's people who are making decisions who are best for the country. And that means there's going to be some dissension in there. So that 60 is not really 60. It's 55. It's 50. It's some number that's not 60. So to say that he had both is a lie. It's a fabrication. It's a complete misunderstanding of how this government works and how the Republicans work.
Well, but even then, there have been Republicans that jump. John McCain has jumped at times. Lindsey Graham has jumped at times. We've
at
had
times. You see one or two, but you cannot tell me that they are actually working as a party to help solve problems in this country. Because they, as a party, the Republicans have not worked to solve problems in this country. They have worked as a party to thwart every step of the president. Every single step of the president has been Republican Party has worked to stop.
Okay.
Well, I think
it's never been like this in the history of this country. At least in the last 50 years, it's never been like this.
Okay.
Going on with that party, and it's getting dangerous, more and more dangerous every year. All we can hope for, well, we could have had a turnaround this time, but with 5 million votes being suppressed, people in this country have killed and have died to secure the rights to vote.
Yeah,
we take voting seriously, not just seriously like we just talk about it. We kill people and we die for the right to vote in this country. We have a history of doing that. And you're talking about 5 million votes being suppressed because somebody wants to win an election? I mean, how is that not the biggest news story in the country right now? And I'll tell you the reason it's not the biggest news story, because there would be a war. You know, if people really got fired up about this, it would be dangerous. But that doesn't stop the Republicans from doing it.
I also find it interesting that people die for the right to vote, and yet we only get 25% of the public voting.
I don't even care how many people vote. It doesn't. You know, I don't even care if people. The thing is that right should be available to everybody. It should be easy to vote. We shouldn't force people to vote. If people don't want to vote, you know, I don't want to make it like Australia and force everyone to vote. But you stand in a way to vote, that's something completely different.
Yeah.
That's completely different.
Okay.
If only one person voted in an election, I'd be okay with that. I don't care. As long as it's available and free and easy, and we're not putting up roadblocks to stop people, especially when these roadblocks are specifically designed to block a specific portion of the voting population. It's not meant to make it hard because we think voting should be hard. It's meant to be hard because the people who will most likely vote against Republicans will have the hardest time satisfying those requirements. I mean, it's politically motivated. It's all done just to win an election. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with solving the problems of the country. The Republicans don't give a damn about solving problems in this country. They never have. They haven't in the last 4 years. They certainly won't do it in the next 4 years. They only care about getting elected. Yeah, and that is sad. I mean, it's okay to say, hey, we want to get elected, but when you're elected, you have to, or after the election, you have to stop and say, okay, the election's over. Let's roll our sleeves up. Let's get some work done, guys.
Right.
And I think this is where you and I have a difference. And I'm going to say how we differ on view things, because, you know, with how you view it, you say Republicans aren't doing anything because they want to be reelected and they're trying to stop everything that's gone through so they can be reelected. Whereas I think both sides are a bunch of poo heads, and both sides are trying to get reelected, and they just have their own different ways of doing it. You know, one appeases by throwing money, not necessarily solving a problem as much as they're throwing money at it and hoping it solves a problem. And really and truly, they're not looking at how much they're spending, if it's really working, if it's not working, how to change it, how to fix it, what they need to do with it in order to make it better. If it's not really meeting the goals that should be established for the program, then maybe they need to get rid of it. And the Republicans, on the other hand, are saying, well, let's not do anything about this and it will fix itself. And really and truly, both sides are becoming so staunch on their own political side. And I really think if Mitt Romney is elected, you're going to start seeing Democrats starting to stalwart a lot of things he wants to do. I really don't think that this is going to be I don't view this as Republican it is Republican versus Democrat. It's not what's best for the country and what's best for the people. And even if the opposing side has the best idea, I think just because it's the opposing side, they're going to run or they're going to go to whatever their party goes for. And yes, they have Democrats who jump. They also have Republicans who jump. Right now, and I think one of the biggest things is whenever we have these big, huge political shifts inside of Congress and inside the Senate, they believe that it's a message to the president saying that it's our policies that should be that the people want, and that's what it should be. Just like whenever towards the end of Bush's presidency, whenever they voted in the Democrats into the House, and I don't know if they got the Senate at that time, but I know they got the House. That was the message that was being sent. It is a message to George Bush saying that we don't want his policies anymore. We want the Democrats to fix this. So that's just me.
Yeah.
And really, what we should do is we should get rid of everyone, start fresh, and go for people who really care about the people of this country.
Oh, term limits. I don't know why we don't have term limits in this country. That's a big step.
We agree.
Yeah. All right. Now that we've got everybody said something, we all agree there. Let's. A little fiery tonight. A little fiery.
I warned you before the show started, Packard, that I was on edge.
I know you said you're on edge. Crystal's handing out volume in the chat room, so you might want to grab one from her. We may have to name this "Too Hot for Chat" or again, something like that. I don't know. Too hot for your radio.
With the triple X marking on top.
Yes. Well, I took off the clean hashtag several shows ago. So.
Oh my goodness, I missed that.
You didn't know that? Oh okay.
No.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to find out now. We're the explicit tag. Although we're very rarely explicit on the show. All right, well, let's get into our next topic.
Give me the news.
This is one story Vonnie will appreciate if she were here. A burglar broke into someone's home, and this happened out in Gulick. I don't know, Guelph, Gulub. I don't know. It was in Ontario, Canada. Back in July 27th, he broke into these people's home, and guy felt bad that he broke in their home. The couple came out, found their stuff in a bag, sitting on the doorstep, plus $50, with a note saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I broke in your home. I damaged your back door. Here's the money to repair it." If more burglaries were like this, burglaries would be almost non-existent. I mean, it's like, whoa. Well, the only thing you have to worry about is hooking everything back up, and hopefully it's not damaged when it was got it unhooked. What was interesting about this particular story is that the guy had said, "Well, I'm just going to commit myself to 15 hours of community service." The investigators are kind of on this too, and they say, "Sounds like this guy might have been through the court systems once or twice before, because this is the kind of thing you'd get if you had actually committed a crime as a punishment you'd get." So there's a possibility. But they're still looking for it. So they're not buying the whole, "I'm never gonna do it again. I'm so sorry. I'm a bad guy. I just slap me on the hand and go bye-bye." No, that's not gonna happen. They're gonna find this guy eventually, or girl. I don't know. It could have been a woman. Equal opportunity theft, I guess, but they seriously doubt he was a first-time offender. Joe, your thoughts?
I believe the town's name is Guelph.
Guelph?
Guelph. It's Guelph. Guelph.
Guelph.
And yeah, I mean, this town was voted the safest town in Canada 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
So of course the burglars are going to return your stuff and apologize. Plus, the couple didn't even know they were robbed.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey, that's our Xbox and camera. What's it doing on the porch?"
Yeah.
"Oh, there's a note. Somebody robbed us." A quick inspection of the house reveals a broken back door.
It's what's also funny about that is there's a video Michael Moore put out, and he has on the thing that he goes up to people's doors in Canada just to say, "Oh, most people don't keep their doors locked in Canada," and so he just goes and opens the door. Why would this guy?
I saw that, yeah.
Why wouldn't he had even break in the door if the doors are unlocked? Well, maybe
I think he turned the handle of one house and it opened, and he was like, "Okay," and then somebody was like, "Hey," and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Oh, you in the Michael Moore video? Yeah, exactly. I remember seeing that. It's like,
It was in one of his movies. I think it was the gun control movie.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Bowling for Columbine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So yeah, wow. It just you'd never see that here in the United States. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I took your stuff. You know, here's $50. I was gonna sell your stuff so I could make some money, but since I broke your shit, you know, hey, here's $50. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a sweet story. I think that's I liked it. Although I just take exception a little bit to with the police officer. I think what he said was probably true 20 years ago. But in this day and age with the internet, if some guy's feeling, probably a young kid, feeling guilty about a crime, he may have gone on the internet. It would be hard to go on the internet and see how much trouble can I really get into for what I just did.
Yeah.
If he's feeling guilty to do that, and then see, 15 hours of community service. That's right here. Look at that. So it doesn't take a person who's been through the system to know what the crime is for this. It all does somebody with access to the internet. But it also reminded me when you guys were talking about the doors unlocked. My parents used to live in England many years ago, and in their little village, nobody locked the doors, and often they would come home or just even come downstairs from upstairs, and the neighbors would be in the house making tea, getting ready, like to visit. Like, oh yeah, we came over to visit. We already started making the tea. The neighbors were just not that you would at odd times come into people's houses, but like you'd go over to visit, and you felt comfortable not knocking on the door, but just walking in, and you could do it because the doors weren't locked.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of people even here in Wisconsin that doors are unlocked like that a lot. It's just my sister
at Packard's house.
Surprisingly enough, I have done that. Well, my kids have done that, and a couple times I've done that, and it's like
Totally posting that on Facebook. Let's see how many people we can get.
see if we can come over to my house, right? Yeah. Hi, Packard, how you doing? How'd you get in here? Your door's unlocked. Okay. Just come on in, make yourself a sandwich.
We'll say everyone can take one item, but only one item.
Yeah. One small item. There's a piece of paper on the floor. Grab that.
If I want to take Packard, it's okay.
Wake up when my house is gone. Usually everybody comes to my house and usually knocks. What's that?
Best party ever.
Yeah. All right. Who was speaking last? I forgot when you started. Eric, did I say you, Eric?
Who knows?
I don't know.
I think it was Wayne's turn, and then it was supposed to be Eric's turn.
Yeah.
I broke the show. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Mine.
Wow.
What's that? That's all right. All right. Well, since we've pretty much covered this now, let's get on to our next.
There's got to be something else we can talk about this one on.
Sure. I'm
Did he erase all their Xbox games off of there? Because if he did, then he's a dick.
That's right.
That's right. We should have passwords on our Xboxes now.
Yes. Put your password on your Xbox. Don't let anybody in there now.
Okay. 1, 1, 1, 1. That's a good password.
That's right. Hey, that's the password on my luggage.
Oh no, that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's the other one on my other luggage.
Ah!
All right, let's get.
Got me, Packard. You got me.
All right, let's get into our next story then. A man set fire to his home. That's pretty tragic. The way he did it, kind of stupid. Guy's out in London, gets wet. So I think I'm going. I'm trying to think. I can't pull up the accent right now. Says to himself he's gonna, dry his knickers. They call them knickers over there. Dry his underwear, knickers, socks, in the microwave. Apparently walked away from it. Microwave got destroyed. House burned down. It says they saved the apartment from the destruction, but it did destroy the microwave. If you need to dry something really quick, the microwave is the last place you need to put your clothes. I was talking to Eric before the show, and truth be told, I did something like this myself when I was a kid. But I was 12. I wasn't a grown adult. It wasn't clothes. It wasn't clothes. I tried to dry out a phone book, and it just kind of almost started on fire. So I was like, don't start a fire. So it was a little brown. It smelled a little weird afterwards. But so don't try to dry stuff in the microwave. That's not what it's for. It just puts stuff you want to eat. Just leave it at that. Show your thoughts.
Yeah, laundry does not belong in the machine that cooks your food.
Yeah.
But coming from some experience, I used to make these silly YouTube videos with a friend of mine, and we got our hands on some microwaves, and we put all sorts of things that aren't supposed to go in microwaves inside them. Mm-hmm. And of course, we did this outside.
Yes.
We ran extension cords, we blew circuit breakers because we damaged a lot of microwaves. But we put all sorts of stuff that you really shouldn't put in microwaves. Things like, Bic lighters and aerosol cans and things like that.
There is one thing that I have seen put in the microwave, and apparently it is, I wouldn't say safe, but it's fairly safe to put in there. I've seen people put in like round fluorescent tubes in the microwave, and it lights it up.
Really?
Yes, and it doesn't explode, but you don't put it on for like an hour or anything. Just put it in for like a few seconds, and it'll light it right up.
Is that one of those internet video tricks, or?
No. This has been around for years. So if you just Google up fluorescent bulb and microwave, you get quite a variety of things.
That's pretty wild. I never heard of that one. I would have tried it back in the day when we were fooling around.
I'll get in my time machine that I've got from the future, and I'll send you an email, or I'll send you a note and say, try this, and then you'll have the experience, and you won't have to worry about saying that.
Yes, there's nothing like time traveling with you, Packard. Thank you.
I go to all the really cool times,
like medieval times.
Yes. We're Wayne and Eric fight to the death.
You can't eat with a fork and a spoon.
Fun.
Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, people are try anything. I don't know why people put microwave. People are crazy. I know, socks in a microwave. but we won't pick on this. This is actually in Dorset, so this was about 125 miles from London. So,
yeah.
But England, they're all the same.
Yeah.
When I think of microwave, if you want to put something interesting in a microwave, get a big chocolate bar. This is a stick of butter will work too. But you put it on low power and you start melting it, and you'll see the hot spots form. And you can use the hot spots, and you can. What happens is the microwaves come out of the microwave, and they will basically sort of waves, and you can kind of think of them sort of touching down on the chocolate, and they'll melt it in these regular patterns. And
really?
You can measure distance between the hot spots, the melted spots, and that's the length of the wavelength of the microwave.
Wow. Well, that's
and then you can look on the back of your microwave and see what the frequency your microwaves are being pumped out at, and you can use that to compute the speed of light. So there's a science experimentally. So if you want to stick something weird in your microwave, stick a stick of butter or a chocolate bar, and calculate the speed of light. Don't dry your socks.
You know what? I put decaffeinated coffee in my microwave, and I almost went back in time. So
it was stronger than a flux capacitor.
That's right. There is one thing though I did also. This was intentional. Well, semi-intentional. We had this bizarre cookware for the microwave. I put an egg in there. I was going to cook it because I hated using the stove at the time. So I put a plate on top of it. No steam to come out. This glass was several inches. It was several inches thick. The steam couldn't escape, and it literally broke right in the microwave. So make sure you got steam coming out of something. Make sure it can vent. Joe, Eric, your thoughts?
Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me people were putting aluminum foil in microwaves.
Should I tell you about this one?
In fact, I think that if you do that, Packard will give you $10.
I will.
Videotape it and send it to the show.
I won't give you $10. You can put microwave in your aluminum foil in your microwave and send it to me.
Fine.
Sure, I'll put it on the show.
$9.99. Look, we could put it at the end of the show and let people watch.
Sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
Now, if you put down your house, we are not responsible for that.
Yeah, we're not responsible for dead microwaves or houses burning down. But no.
But you can use the $9.99 Packard will give you in order to buy you a new one.
Let's get into our next topic. Yeah. A Catholic bishop. The funniest things come out of the Catholics lately. They're just lately they're saying A, B, C, and Q are X, Y, Z, and R, which that means absolutely nothing. In particular, this Catholic bishop, he says that government should make incest legal if they really believe in equality. Apparently, supposedly, Hugh Gilbert, this Catholic priest of the Scottish Catholic Observer, says why it's all right for a man to marry another man, but not all right for him to marry two women. So he wants to get it on. If we really want equality, why does that equality not extend to nieces who generally love their uncles? Well, how about nephews really love their aunts, or aunts really love their nephews? You know, Eric and I were kind of speaking on this. You know, if they said if they're two consenting adults, but yeah, I think there's a fine line between, you know, that kind of love between two consenting adults and family. I have a mixed bag on this. I mean, people said a lot of people that are against gay people having sex or gay people being together because ultimately it comes down to one thing: they just think it's icky. And in this instance, I think that's kind of a little more than icky. I think it should be. I don't know. It's a very strange topic to even consider. I mean, why would you even want to? Why would you want to marry your niece? Why would you want to marry your nephew?
Why would you want to marry a gay person? Why would you want to marry a straight person?
I think those things are completely different because it's family.
Marriages like that.
Yeah, I think it's the relation thing. That's the blood relation. That's part of it. I think that's really what's important here. It's just so weird that this particular bishop is coming out on this. I was saying before the show that there's a limerick goes, incest is best, put your cousin to the test. So that's the saying. I think there's more to it than that, but I can't remember what it is. Joe, your thoughts?
If you can't keep it in your pants, keep it in the family.
You can't. Hey, it makes those family reunions so much more dateable now.
Well, you know, this is another example of anti-gay people equating being gay with things that are in no way gay.
Right.
This guy lists incest and polygamy, you know, and neither of those things are gay. Last week, there was the whole Chick-fil-A, support Chick-fil-A thing, and people were all over Twitter talking about how proud they were in Chick-fil-A. And I engaged a lot of those people, and I was talking to them, and they were like, well, what's the big deal? You know, Chick-fil-A has their right, their freedom of speech. They can say they're against gay marriage. I'm like, yeah, but Chick-fil-A uses some of their money to fund programs to retrain gay kids to being straight.
And not only that, to have, over in Africa, have gay people killed.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of evil things that Chick-fil-A gives their money to. But I would bring up that point, and their counterpoint to me was, oh, well, wouldn't you give a hearing aid to a deaf child or put a special needs child through special ed? I'm like, whoa, what?
What?
No. You're not going to equate being gay with being disabled or being handicapped, because that is completely different. That's not even close to the same thing. And they kept trying to throw it back on me, like, well, no, that's exactly what you're saying. So why can't gay people be retrained? Because you're born gay. Like that's part of who you're being.
Right.
It's not a handicap. It's not something that you're disabled with. So, it's very frustrating. And this guy reminds me exactly like those people. He's like, well, if you're going to have gays getting married, why not make incest legal? They're not the same thing.
No, I agree.
They're completely different.
Yeah, it's absolutely different. It's just... like I said, Eric and I were kind of talking on this. I said, if they really want to push this, and they really wanted to do it, then they have to take a requirement not to have children. I mean, get fixed or whatever it is to take so they can't have
children.
children.
How can you enforce that?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, if they're having sex, they're going to eventually, somebody's going to get pregnant.
Yeah, and then then the state has to pay for the little one that's kind of, screwed up because of the genetics mixing up that's going on there. Look at Rome. Past Rome, not present Rome. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe I could agree with the bishop. I think it's mean that he's because he's doing this to make a point against gay marriage. But on one level, he does have a point that it's two consenting adults. If it's two consenting adults, well, at least in the incest case, it's two consenting adults. So
let's
why
hope they're
should we
adults.
worry about it? And in the U.S., about half the states, cousins can get married in the U.S., so it's not quite aunt and uncle, but it's only a half a step from aunt and uncle.
In Michigan, as I recall, it's legal to marry your second or third cousin. It's legal.
First cousins in like 25 states. Really? It's pretty. Some of those states, maybe it's like 20 states with no restrictions, then like 6 states there's some restrictions, but first cousins can still get married under whatever different rules, so that's getting. And incest is not a real big issue. Incest is not a problem in the same sense that homosexual is a problem. Homosexuality is a problem in the way that people are treated.
Right.
So even if you legalized incest, it's not going to lead to a big problem. I mean, what tiny small fraction of people have any sort of incestual feelings that they would act on? Almost none. So if you legalize it again, it's not a big problem. So
yeah, it's.
But I'm upset because he's doing it not because he thinks it's a good idea, but because he thinks it's a bad idea, and he's trying to equate it in a bad way to homosexuality. If he was at least being honest about it and doing it from point of view that, hey, it's two consenting adults, and what I'm going to do is draw my line there, and I'm going to realize that when I draw my line there that it's going to include some incest, but I'm okay with that because I'm willing to draw a line sort of based on a principle without judging people and say, okay, I think the important thing is it's two adults that are consenting. It can't be an adult and a child, and it can't be a forced marriage. It can't be two consenting adults. Then I don't like it sometimes, but hey,
I like Dawkins' answer in the chat room. He says, "I'm completely against incest, mainly because my brother is just so ugly." So.
The good news is you won't be facing him.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And Packard pokes that goes there.
And we just went there. That's right. Oh. If we didn't lose our clean take before, we really lost it now. Eric, your thoughts?
Right before I give my thoughts, I just want to say it looks like Romney will announce his running mate at 9 on Saturday. Let's keep our fingers crossed it's not Bobby Jindal.
If it's Bobby Jindal, I'm...
Third party!
Woo!
So I know you really want to get rid of Bobby Jindal, Eric, but please, we do not need that guy in office. He is even nuttier than Romney.
Well, I haven't been too impressed with Bobby. And I enjoy how the conservatives are saying that he is a conservative guy. Meanwhile, truth of the matter is he's not quite as conservative as I think they would like him to be.
You mean Jindal or
Jindal.
Romney? Oh.
Jindal.
Yeah.
So anyway, my thoughts.
Your thoughts.
Before the show, we were talking about this, and I'm not one to support incest in no way, shape, or form. Is my line of questioning that is about to happen going to mean that I, in any shape or form, support incest? But I think it is a very good conversation topic and something that we really need to discuss and debate because, I was going a little more in Wayne's direction, where it's like, okay, you know, if we say that it's between two consenting adults and government needs to stay out of the bedroom, how do we say incest? You know, if we say, oh, you can't do incest because it's Oogie, then what if I don't think, you know, what if I think two men having sex is Oogie? Does that mean I should come out and say, oh, men on men action is horrible? I do support the hot lesbians, but men on men action.
We know you support hot lesbians.
And you know, and what if a gay person comes out and says, "Oh, I think heterosexual sex is Oogie, therefore we shouldn't have." I mean, you know, it's like there has to be a point where we draw a line, and that line, if we say it's between two consenting adults, then you have to almost allow all forms of that to happen, regardless of what it is, as long as it's between two consenting adults. And I think that that's the you know, that's the discussion that we need to have and we need to look at, because you know, that's what will end up happening at some point. This will come up and people will start to talk about this and we'll start to debate this. And if we say it's between two consenting adults, then guess what? It has to be between two consenting adults. And anyway, what happens in the bedroom, as long as you don't talk about it, no one's going to know.
That's very true. I will concede that point. If you don't talk about it in the bedroom, but you know how it is in this country. Everybody's like, "Yeah, I did this and I did this," and it's like there's a comedian. He goes, you know, you can always tell a married guy between his single buddies, because a woman walked by, say something, the single guys are making crass comments. And it was, the married guy, you did this, and it was like, I got a coupon right here in my pocket. You need that. So.
Yeah, and I also think that, you know, and I know you said that you shouldn't allow them to have children because, you know, it increases the likelihood that they will have some type of abnormality. And I understand that, but if they're willing to take that risk, you know, it's like you can't just sit there and say, okay, well, we're going to allow straight people and gay people to have kids, but if you're sleeping with your cousin or your brother or your sister or whatever, you're not allowed to have children. Well, if they're willing to take that risk, if they're willing to pay for it, you know, and who knows, they may try for it.
What if they are? How about this then? How about this? This just came to me just now. If we can't, obviously we can't, you know, sterilize these people against their will.
Why you have to sterilize?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is if we obviously can't sterilize them, keep them from having children. What if they had them? If you say if you're going to consent into this agreement, and the child becomes mentally disabled or mentally handicapped in some way, and because people who have mentally handicapped children, in many cases, they get a stipend from the state. So they sign a waiver to say, you know, if you have a child that's mentally handicapped because of this, brother, sister, brother, cousin, whatever, you know, or a guy, cousin, mother, whatever it is, and this child is mentally disabled, then you do not get a stipend from the state. I think that would encourage them to make sure that, hey, don't get pregnant.
Well, at that point, then why don't we do the same thing with people impoverished? Because, you know, it is shown that
I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think that's not, because if anybody can become impoverished by no fault of their own.
Okay,
when you're having sex, you're
receiving welfare. I mean, it can go in different places. You know, it's like you have to be very careful what you do and what you say. And then, and here's the question that we should ask: what would the ACLU say about that? Would they be in favor or would they be against?
I don't know. That's a good question. You call them up and ask them.
I don't do that because I'm afraid like, people in Louisiana, they're having sex with their sisters and brothers and cousins. What's going on down there? We already have enough problems as it is.
Yeah, we'll save all that for, like, you know, Tennessee and Kentucky.
But, you know, that being said, I do think it's a very good discussion, and it will be a topic that will come up eventually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to come up, and right now it's just kind of at the bottom of the barrel of topics that come up generally. But eventually, I think this.
I'm sure they don't feel like it's the bottom of the barrel.
No. I mean, as far as the topic is concerned, it's the top. It's not talked about. That's what I mean. It's at the bottom of the barrel of topics to talk about. It will eventually rise to the top. Eventually, when in some political seasons, like, oh, so and so is this president's for brothers and sisters getting married, or the religious right will say the brothers and sisters getting married, or whatever. So it's going to come up. It's just not coming up yet, but looks like it's starting to head that way. All right, let's get into our next story here. This one is a little bit more dark. We do cover darker stories on this show occasionally, especially when it wraps around religion. This happened over in Malaysia, of all places. What can you say about Malaysia? The country's a little bit, I wouldn't say backwards, but it's pretty close to that. This girl, age 3, was suffocated by her to death by her eight members of her family, because they were trying to exercise in an exorcism ritual. Now, what was interesting here is that both parents, a grandmother, an uncle, 2 cousins of the victim, and their maid. So they obviously had a little bit of money. So just because you have money doesn't mean it doesn't make you smart. In many cases, they were apparently smothering this child to get the demon out of her. Really? What I thought was really interesting about this story, the funniest part of the story, we were just talking about how people in Canada leave their houses unlocked. This guy here, he says he comes out to, he says the witness who came suspicious that the main door of the house was not locked. Okay. And then he says that he immediately went to the bedroom on the first floor. Immediately to the bedroom. Yeah, when I always go to someone's house, I immediately go to the bedroom. No, I immediately stand right where I'm at and you tell me where you want me to go in your house. I don't immediately go straight to your bedroom. And then he finds that door locked. So he says, "Oh, that door's locked." And he says, "Hey, come on, let me in." "No, you go away. We do it." My microphone. "You go away. We don't want you in here. We don't want you in here. You go away." So he says, "Oh, that's suspicious. So I'm going to go get the cops." He walks into someone's home. 1. 2, he walks immediately to the bedroom. 3, can't get in, so he immediately calls the police. I think he knew something was going on. I think he had some kind of clue something was going to happen. Otherwise, if you went to someone's house and you knocked on their bedroom door and they say, "Hey, don't come in," do you immediately go to the police because of that? No. You'd say, "Okay, well, what are you doing?" Because you could. Someone could be changing. They could have been. We were kind of joking about this. Hey, they could have been in an orgy in there. They just didn't want them in there. So, but you go get the cops immediately? No, you don't do that. But so I think he had some kind of clue that something was going on. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, this guy is the guy who reported it to the police because he showed up at the house. The door was open. He looked inside. Where's everybody? He found everybody locked in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. And there was like music playing in there or something, and he was banging on the door, "Come on out," and they wouldn't come out, so he called the cops, and they busted down the door, and they found, 8 people on top of this 3-year-old girl doing this exorcism, and they pulled them all off of her, and there she was at the bottom, and she was dead. She suffocated.
Yeah.
And it's a tragedy, but
it is tragic.
This is an example of how religious beliefs can be harmful. Some people say, just let them believe what they want. It's okay, and I agree, it's okay. People can believe whatever they want. But it's not okay once those beliefs start to harm people. And in this case, a 3-year-old girl died.
Yes.
It's
really sad. It is a really sad story.
Out of her?
Yeah. Apparently, maybe the child just, didn't want to eat her vegetables. "Oh, you got the devil inside you because you don't want to eat your vegetables." How do they process something like that to, there's a devil inside you? 3-year-old children act up. I know. I had 2 of them. Not at the same time, but I mean, But, and I've raised several kids that are not mine. I mean, my nieces, I raised my nieces and nephews, or helped my sisters raise their nieces and their daughters and sons. So I know. I've been around plenty of 3-year-olds that act up. Never once did they say, "Oh, that kid has got a devil inside it. Let's smother the son of a bitch." Really? Come on now. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, people, that whole part of the world, I don't know. Actually, Malaysia is not, they're one of the top economies in the world, actually. They're a top 30 economy. But most of the wealth in the country is concentrated in the hands of the Chinese minority that's there. But, and the names here didn't seem to be Chinese names, so these would not be. They have a maid, but I don't know what that means in that part of the world either. I mean, people probably get a maid pretty cheap, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I can't get one to come in here. They see my house and they run.
But yeah, yeah, exorcisms. I don't know. It's how can we live in the 21st century and people perform exorcisms? I don't know.
So I'd like to know too. I mean, I think it doesn't matter what century we're going to live in, because these people are still going to believe nutty things. People will believe anything if they think their argument is valid enough for it. It's just so bizarre. Eric, your thoughts?
I just have one thing really to say, and that's it's always tragic whenever people take religion too far, and a little girl ended up dying for something that's really, in my opinion, is silly and unwarranted. So I really think that we need to, before we do anything, we need to look at exactly what it is and make sure that no one's going to get hurt in the process.
Yeah, it's if you want to believe something, fine, but if it comes down to hurting somebody else, that comes to a stop immediately. There's people out there because they don't want to take their kids to the hospital because of what they believe. I think that's wrong.
Well, this is where religion gets really dangerous, is that there's no reality check in religion. The whole basis of religion is that you're accepting on faith things that can never be proven. You're accepting the supernatural, and so therefore you totally disconnected your reality from the rest of the world's reality. So something like this, I mean, it's almost like there's a wall that goes up that doesn't allow you to sort of see what it is you're doing when you're doing this stuff in the name of religion. They would never do this for any other reason. I mean, you don't get a family to smother their daughter, a 3-year-old girl, unless a religion is doing that.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that would do that. So.
Yeah, they don't say there's a rover on Mars. Let's smother the child. No, you don't hear stuff like that, because they think there's a demon or the devil or the child is possessed because it's acting out. Whatever the excuse they use. You won't say your prayer. There was another woman. She said she killed her kid because the kid wouldn't say her prayers at mealtime. The kid was 5 years old. 5 years old, and the kid dies because of that. And it's the same kind of stupidity.
Yeah, so once you buy into it, you can buy into it too far. But then that's the other thing, is how do you not buy into it too far? I mean, the whole idea of a religion is that you're believing in magic. So once you believe in magic, I'm surprised that people have any self-control when they're religious, because there's no it makes no sense that they're not all crazy, and the fact they're not all crazy is just proof to me that they're crazy. It's like, why would you believe it? You don't really believe it. I mean, you say you believe it and you act like you believe it, but you don't really believe it. I mean, if you really believed it, you'd be crazy like all those other crazy people we see. Yeah. But you're not, because you don't really believe it. You kind of convinced yourself a little bit on the surface.
I have this this little litmus test on that, and it's perfect. If someone says they believe in divine protection, they believe their God can do anything, I say, okay, go to the next stoplight you come to, and if it's red and there's traffic going through, just keep driving. Don't stop. Just keep driving. Would you do that? No, of course not, because you know why? Those cars are going to hit you. That semi's going to hit you. Do you put a safety belt on? Well, if you do, then they say, oh, it's because of the law. I know a lot of people who don't put it on because even though there's the law, so don't use that one. So if you want, don't wear your safety belt. Go drive through stoplights.
Or if most of them heard a voice in their head telling them to kill their children, they wouldn't kill their children. But if they really believed in God, if they really did believe that God was real, and they heard a voice in their head that said it was God and for them to kill their children, then they would kill their children if
Some
they
of them
really
would.
believed. But they don't, because people know that that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
they don't. When you really corner them, they don't really believe. They just act like they believe, and they want to believe, and they hope it's true. But it's at least in America, it's only a small percentage that are these real fundamentalists that are just really crazy.
Yeah.
But most people just kind of go along with it because it just feels like the right thing to do. It takes a weight off their minds. They like the community. They like the the whole,
I understand the community aspect. I mean, there was
you bought into it for a little while.
Yeah. Because I was involved in religion for a while when I was younger, and there was the whole community-based situation there, and a lot of people just go for that just for the community, and a lot of people who are stepped out of religion, they look back at this and they say, that was the main thing that kept me there was the community. It wasn't so much the religion aspect of it at first, or later, I guess maybe, but it was just the support group, as it were. So that was what was basically kept them there, and I can completely understand. If you need help, hey, parishioner Joe's sister or daughter or whatever will come over and babysit my kids. Hey, but when you step away from that, then you're a pariah, and they don't want to have anything to do with you. Then you're SOL. Let's get into our next topic. Our funny tweet tonight comes from 74 Hodag. That's 74 HODAG, who retweets ZWolf666. That's ZWOLF666. The plan one, become morbidly obese. 2, lose all the weight. 3, stretch out my skin and soar like a flying squirrel. Joe, your thoughts?
Oh, wow. Twitter is full of doozies.
Yes, they are.
I mean, you could search like random words and just find people talking about the weirdest stuff.
You can learn a lot about people by what to search for, too.
I did a search for like sex with food one time, and I found countless people talking about it. I was blown away. I was like,
really?
What?
Sex with food. Well, to each his own.
Exactly.
Wayne, your thoughts?
I have this horrible image in my head now of saggy skin. And thank you for finding this.
You're welcome. Eric, your thoughts?
Because I haven't been on a while and I haven't said it in a while, I have no thoughts.
There you go.
Go, Eric.
Go, Eric, for the win on. Eric has no thoughts again. Okay, let's get into our shout out for this evening.
Hey, you guys!
Tonight's shout out comes from Wayne, and is for our Wayne's shout out tonight is for Skeptical Lady. Wayne, can you tell us a little bit about Skeptical Lady?
Yeah, she her Twitter handle is Skeptical Lady, Skeptical_Lady, and her Twitter name is Question Everything, and that's basically what she does. It's her profile basically says she's a free thinker who supports First Amendment rights, women's equality, scientific literacy, and critical thinking. And she's local to you, Packard. She's in Wisconsin.
Oh,
and,
yeah, because we all know everybody here in Wisconsin.
Come on, everybody from Wisconsin knows each other. We all know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
She hits all the high points that I like to tweet and like to read, and if you're interested, especially in these hard left-leaning topics with the emphasis on the critical thinking, scientific literacy type thing, then yeah, she's definitely a good follow, fun, and I don't have a whole lot of interaction with her. We just sort of retweet each other a lot, more than I don't have a whole lot of Twitter conversations with people.
I understand that.
Two of my favorites here in the room, and that's really that's kind of the limit of it.
That's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes you just find a good circle of friends, and you just kind of tweet those. I don't tweet talk to everybody that tweets me. I have like one or two quick comments back and forth, and that's it. I mean, so that's pretty common, actually. Okay, well, if you are out on Twitter, and if you're not on Twitter, why aren't you? Give a Skeptical Lady a shout and tell her you heard her on the show. Okay, let's get into our question of the week.
Excuse me. I have a question.
I have a question, sir.
What are you doing? I'm asking you a question.
Our question for this tonight, it comes from me, and the question is... Oh, you know what? Actually, let's read the question from last week and get the replies. The question from last week was not because of their politics or beliefs, but only by ethic only, by work ethic only. What athletic figure, current or historical, do you find inspirational? We got one reply from Wizard Todd, our prolific replier. He says, "Evel Knievel. Never before and never again has a man made such a living by breaking his own bones." He died a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So, and it wasn't from an accident, just, you know, age caught up with him. So, but yeah, I remember Evel Knievel when I was a kid. They had toys and everything around him. You'd get to this little cycle. You'd have to wind it, and it would take off, pshing, and crash into crap and everything all over the place. And it was kind of fun, you know. Until the thing went off until you went out of the road and someone just happened to ride by at the same time, and well, fun's over. All right. Well, our question this week is from me, and in sight of the rover landing and on Mars, I came up with this one. It says, "Now, if you were the first person to set foot on another planet, what would be the first thing that you would say?" Joe, if you were the first person to set foot on another planet, what would be the first thing you would say?
I'd say, "Oh crap, what's that?" No, really, if I went to another planet, I'd be like, "One small step for me, one giant leap for podcasting."
That would be quite the they go, what podcasting, what is that?
I know, back home all the bloggers would be like, "Oh, podcasters."
Exactly. Such scum. Wayne, if you were the first person to set foot on another planet, what would be the first thing you would say?
I don't taste as good as I look.
Excellent! I like that one. I'm not tasty. Don't eat me.
I can assure you I am not barbecue flavored.
That's hilarious. That's great. Beats the hell out of
spicy chipotle, and you will have diarrhea.
That beats the hell out of what I was thinking. Eric, if you were the first person to set foot on another planet, what would the first thing you would say?
Holy crap, I can't breathe.
What did he say?
He said, "Holy crap, I can't breathe." If it were me, if I were the first person to set foot on another planet, the first thing I would say is I would say, "This is my claim. I'm putting the mini mall right here." Of course, you know, a little hard to get to. You know.
Environment of a new planet, I cannot believe you.
I'm already thinking of making money on another planet. Mini mall goes right here. So if you have a answer for if you were the first person to set foot on another planet, what would the first thing you would say? Send it to me, to Wayne, or to Joe, and we'll get it on the show. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, put it in the comments section down below, and then we'll read it on the show then. All right. Let's see here. Well, that's it for us tonight. Well, we made this a kind of a long show tonight, but that's okay.
It's because Eric was back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Eric.
Usually that's what happens.
Whenever Eric's on, we run long. So I think I mentioned that at the beginning of the show too. So
One night you should have Eric, Vonnie, and Wayne on.
Oh yeah, we'll
And
have
be prepared to be on until 2 in the morning.
yeah we'll have a 4-hour show then.
That would be the best show ever, though. It'll be epic.
Yes.
I would play it
Take
on
a few days
Let's
to
use that
download.
stamina.
Take a few days to download that episode. We may have to do that one on. We have to do that one just completely live and no edits.
We're going live.
Screw it, we're going live. If you want to come, speaking of going live, if you want to come to the live show, we're on at Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central. So look whatever time you're on, just look for Central Time at 9 o'clock at 9 p.m. Go to justin.tv/Packard Pokesat, all one word, no spaces on that. And then and if you can't chat with us, then you need to sign up. And signing up is free. And then you come in, join the chat room. And we have quite the ball in the chat room. If you had seen some of the stuff that's going on in the chat room tonight, it's really worth coming to the chat room to join in because it is a lot of fun.
The chat room is always fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody gets drugged into the chat room, even me a few times during the show. So
The people in the chat room have created their own drinking game.
Yes, they have. I won't tell you what it is. You got to come and show and find out. But if you want to contact us and you want to like to talk to us, and we're on Twitter, for the most part. If you're on Twitter, you want to reach us, like I just said, it's getting late. I'm getting tired. If you want to reach Joe on Twitter, you can reach Joe on Twitter as
Joe Unseen, JoeUnseen.
Right. And Joe, you're also now joined on another podcast. Do you want to give a shout out for your podcast buddy friend there and his name of his show?
This guy contacted me last week, and we recorded our first episode on Blog Talk Radio.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Atheist American. I'm sure if you search Blog Talk Radio, you can find it. The show is on Wednesdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. It's a live call-in show about atheism. Anyone listening right now, I encourage you to call. The phone number will be posted on the show when you log in. And he told me that the episodes will eventually be downloaded on iTunes and stuff like that.
So.
But keep in mind, it's a brand new show. We're still working on the format, so we're kind of just sort of talking to each other at this point. We're still kind of trying to work out like segments and things to talk about, stuff like that.
Yeah, I sent Joe. Joe said the first episode was rough, and I said you should listen to the first episode I ever did, and the beta episode. Did you listen to that one, Joe?
I have listened to your first episode a while ago, and you sent me the link, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one.
That was rough. That's the beta podcast. That if you look for Packard Pokesat, the beta podcast. Yeah, that was a rough show. Wasn't it, Eric?
Yes, it was. I remember it fondly.
If you want to
meandering like nobody's business.
Yes, we went down rat holes, and I don't think we ever saw the daylight shortly thereafter. But anyway, if you want to reach Wayne on Twitter, you can reach Wayne on Twitter as
I am Random Excess. That's all one word. RANDOMEXCESS. Random Excess.
Right, and that's all. Yes, like he says, it's all one word. And if you want to reach Eric, he's on Twitter as
Packard_Sonic sucks at yahoo.com.
You still have that email account, don't you?
I haven't checked it in a long time, but I do have it.
I keep meaning to write you a story to that email, and I keep forgetting.
You most probably should. I need to set it up where I in my mail accounts, that way I can check it from time to time.
There you go. Might be a good idea. And you can.
If that doesn't work.
If that doesn't work.
You can also reach me at I have no thoughts. IHAVENOTHOUGHTS.
Right. Yes, but
he's not going to be hacked because it's not 3 letters.
That's right. and you have to ask permission to see his stream now. So because
okay, I'm fix that.
You're gonna fix that?
I'm gonna fix it.
Okay, good. Because it's like You gave some kind of weird explanation, like, I don't think anybody's going to find you there. Not under that name.
Everyone who looks at your profile thinks you're Darth Vader anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that awesome?
The evil side of the Packard Pokset is Eric. I have no thoughts.
Well, you know, I figure Dick Cheney is considered Darth Vader. Might as well be the Darth Vader of the show.
There you go. It works for you too. It makes the show more interesting. But if you want to get the show notes, go to packardpokset.wordpress.com, and you can find all the links to all the stories we talked about here. If you would like to make a donation to the show, there's a big donation button there. Press that, and then put a few dollars in there, 1, 2, 100, 1,000, whatever you feel the show is worth to you.
And don't forget, for anyone that wants to shut us up,
here we go.
$1 million, and I promise you, I will not speak again. You can send money to Packard_SonicSucks@yahoo.com.
And I'll never see a dime of it.
That's right. I will shut up like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, Eric, we've missed you. Some of the chat room said they were waiting on for you to say that. It's like, yeah.
You see?
See, they remember. They remember.
Can you ever forget me?
We try, Eric, but there's just some memories just won't die.
Everybody thinks that I try and forget about you two, Packard.
I know. Chris has asked you if you want those in unmarked bills.
No, they can be marked. Just be sure you don't tell Packard about it.
That's right. Right. Sure, there you go.
Remember, I'm the conservative. I will invest wisely and make a whole bunch of money. Packard would just give it to someone on the street.
Yeah, I would just use it for humanistic reasons. No other reasons.
More likely to help strippers get through college. That's what Packard would use it for.
There you go. Help the strippers get through college. All right, we should get going. This has been Packard Pokes. We just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.
Really good
Hey,
story.
Packard?
Yes.
Are you about to go on to the next segment?
Yes, we are.
Okay, can I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
I'm a Chiquita banana, and I'm here to reveal Chiquita gives bananas a new appeal.
Okay.
That is all. That was for the benefit of the chat room.
Benefit of the chat room. Okay.